Welcome everyone to episode 96 of Missing Pieces. I've actually been waiting all day to record this episode. I usually do these on Fridays now that Clark Man is in school, but today was a little special because I had a delivery that I was waiting on that was supposed to arrive between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. And the item that I was waiting for was an elliptical that I ordered for Mrs. Brickitect. I thought it'd be a really nice thing to do to upgrade that for her. And I was like, all right, I had some people come first thing in the morning to spray some wasps out front of our house, right? So like already exciting. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of editing and then this thing's going to get here. We'll get the elliptical in and then I'll record this episode and then I'll install it or put it together. Assemble it, I guess is the word that we're looking for. And I waited and 1 o'clock came and went. And then now it's 2 o'clock right now. And I was starting to get really fired up, but I just got a phone call from the people that are delivering the elliptical. And they said there was a little bit of a mix up and my heart sank a little bit. But then he said, we assembled your elliptical, which is why we're running late. We assembled yours and the people before us. And they're in the next town over delivering that one. And then they're going to come deliver mine already assembled. So taking I guess a loss and turning it into a win, it may have cost me like time and that I could have been recording this. And I thought like, maybe I could just go down and start this. And if they arrive and, Roxy starts barking and I have to leave, I could come back. But I kind of wanted this just to be like one solid thing because I feel like if I get interrupted, it's going to ruin like my whole flow. And it's probably going to happen in this episode, depending on how quickly we get through this. But nonetheless, it's just a lesson to me to, be patient. And sometimes bad things turn out to be good things because now we're going to have a fully assembled one. And if they can get here before Mrs. Brickitect gets home, it's just going to be like an assembled elliptical in the room there, just like waiting for her. And I'm excited about that. But the timing is going to be very sketchy. I have to get Clark Man here just after 3 o'clock. They may or may not make it by then. So I'm like hoping that we can get this done. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call her and say, hey, you need to come home like right after school because the surprise that I was planning to order for you and build for you and whatnot is like going to be arriving when you're there. And I need you there for it. So anyways, you can probably tell in other bad news, you can probably tell from my voice that I have a cold right now. And that's courtesy of Clark Man, courtesy of the first week of school. Many of you know, if you're a parent out there, you know that elementary classrooms are like a petri dish of germs and disease. And maybe exaggerating a bit, but first weekend, Clark Man ends up getting a cold. He was sick all through Labor Day, where we really ended up not doing much at all. We had a little cookout, did some hot dogs and hamburgers, which I enjoyed. And then we had a little campfire thing outside and sat around that. And it was a good time. But Clark, man, he was sniffly, he was coughing, all that jazz. And now I'm in that world now. So this episode may not sound the best, but just know that I'm dedicated and there wasn't going to be a time where I don't record an episode for you unless we're not home for some reason, like vacation wise and stuff. But I'm here and I think I'm like kind of getting better from it. Clark Man, like he bounced back pretty quickly. He was off on Tuesday, which was right after Labor Day. And it was kind of nice having that extra day to keep him home and then like the extra day to keep him home. Cause we didn't want to send him in with like, snotting all over the place and stuff. Cause that's how this stuff spreads. So yeah, that's kind of happened this week. Tuesday home with him was wonderful. It was kind of like memories of last year, remote learning kindergarten, because he was home with me all day. Cody had gone to school, Mrs. Brickitect in some circles, as you may know her. And we did like all the things that we wanted to do that day and had a lot of fun. In fact, if you'd like to see what we did, there's a whole vlog on it on Greg's World if you'd like to check that out. And it's a long one. It's like 20 some minutes. So if you're a person that's here and you like yourself some long form content, that will be perfect for you. So yeah, that was a whole thing. And like, it sucks having like a cold or whatever, but it could be a lot worse, And maybe this will be like a bad thing that's turned into a good thing, which it sort of was. Maybe that's the theme of this episode. Bad things become good things. Don't judge a bad thing by its cover. I don't know. I'm getting a phone call. Please hold. Hello, this is Greg.
Hey, it's Darnell.
Hey.
We are on our way. We're 30 minutes out.
Perfect. That'll work out great.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you in about 30 minutes.
See you in
All right.
about 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Hey, 30 minutes, they're going to be here. We have a little bit of a time crunch here on Missing Pieces, but I could come back and record a little bit later. So let's continue on here. Tuesday, awesome day. Had that whole experience with Clark Man, and I cherish that. So that was actually a good thing, even though that we're both kind of sick. Oh, I should say last Friday night we did like a little camp out thing. I promised Clark that if he had a good week at school and everything went well, I would do a little camp out thing inside of his bed tent, which is like a tent that goes over your bed, believe it or not. And we did that. So that's probably where I got sick, because he was probably contagious then, and like I got that. Yeah, whatever. Let's move past that. Let me tell you about what else I did over the weekend. I did myself some organizing. I at least started on the process. It's really bad, and I started in the storage room, which is right behind that missing pieces poster behind me. If you're watching this, if you're listening, which you can do on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all these other places that I don't think anyone listens to it. It was a disaster in there. Specifically, this workbench that I have, completely covered in stuff. Like it became like a catch-all. And I know we all have those places. Like if there is a surface, at least this is my experience, and you can let me know if this is your experience as well. If there is a surface that there is an opportunity to put something, I will put something there. And I won't just put one thing there. I'll put many things there, and it'll become like rather ridiculous. So I went in there and I cleaned that workbench off, and I just kept like going. And I went like over to the shelf thing, and I got that organized. And then like I went over to my box of boxes. Some of you guys know that follow this channel that I have a bit of a addiction to boxes, a bit of a, it's a obsession maybe. And I save boxes not only for Lego sets, but for like every electronics purchase I buy, including like old consoles and like microphones, cameras, you name it. If I buy it, drones, if I buy it, there's a box for it that I've kept. And I have all these, like the box is full from when we moved, and all my new boxes started piling up like near the box of boxes. Which I know sounds ridiculous, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep some of these boxes, like the video game consoles and such, but some of this stuff has to go. And I went through that and I started like eliminating those things, and it felt good. Like I flattened them all out and they're going to go get recycled. And it's like, I didn't need these things. They have no impact on my life, just in the same way that Lego boxes don't. All the Lego boxes that I flattened or whatever that I have still held on to for whatever reason, because I can't part with them. That's the reason. Whether the box is whole with a Lego set inside or flattened down or doesn't exist at all has no impact on my happiness or my satisfaction in life. None whatsoever. But I will say this. It's pretty darn cool going in and seeing like an old Nintendo box or like a original Xbox box or whatever. And it's like someday if I ever want to put that back in there, sell it, I could do that. And that's, I think, where a lot of the problems stem from, is the fact that I have this mindset, and this is why I save my Lego boxes as well. I have this mindset that someday I might end up selling these things and having the box will make it more valuable. But then I need to realize, like, no one's going to want my headphones. You're not going to want my earbuds. Earbuds? Wow. Maybe I should just quit this podcast. I think I'm done. Speaking of that, I should probably have Roxy Bear go upstairs, because she's like my secondary doorbell. If the doorbell rings, she starts barking, and I can't hear the doorbell down here, but I can hear Roxy Bear. So hold on. Just one sec. Roxy Bear, you gotta go upstairs. You gotta go upstairs. You gotta be my doorbell. Can you go up there? Can you go up there for right now? Thank you, Boo Bear. Keep going. Labs are very helpful in many ways, especially when it comes to home defense. Not really. She'll like lick you to death or make you throw her a football if you encounter her at our house. But anyways, where was I? This is why I don't want to get interrupted by things. I was talking about getting organized, and the boxes, they don't mean anything. They're nice to have. It's cool to look at. But like these boxes that I had, they had been sitting in there for the last almost 2 years since we've lived here, right? Not that important to me, obviously, especially because I found like my remote for my Apple TV that I bought in 2019, and I had like the HDMI cable, but I didn't know where the Apple TV was. Couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, dude, maybe I got in with my Lego stuff. Roxy's coming back down. Okay, I guess we're just going to be down here. You want to be with me? Oh, I appreciate that. There's a Boo Bear back there for you guys that are watching this. I'm sorry to kick you out, Bear. We'll hear them, I think. Imagine they come here and the doorbell's ringing. I'm down here doing the podcast. Like nothing could have gone worse. But we'll see what happens here. I have a funny story to tell you guys about this Apple TV. The fact that it was actually in the box of boxes inside its box. I picked up the Apple TV box, getting ready to throw it away, and I'm like, this feels kind of heavy. Open it up. There's my Apple TV. So I was organized, I suppose, but the fact that these boxes are meaningless to me actually hurt me, because had I not had that box, the Apple TV would have been probably somewhere that I would have actually like been able to easily locate it. My plan for the Apple TV, because I was trying to figure out like why do people buy Apple TVs, and I was trying to figure out why I bought an Apple TV, because every TV is like a smart TV. Like why do you need it? But then I thought, ooh, I'll hook it up to the projector down here. Because right now I have like a PlayStation 4 hooked up to it, which is right there. how about I hook up the Apple TV and then that becomes like a smart projector, if you will. So I'm going to do that. And that was a nice thing to come out of getting organized, among other things. I found several things that I was like, oh, dude, this is great. And having it organized is good, as is the sun coming out and giving us a little bit better lighting here. I love that. But one other thing that I found when I was throwing away my drone box is I found 2 extra propellers inside like the packaging. And it made me think like a couple of things. Like this is another example of a bad thing becoming a good thing, because when I first got my drone, I took it to my nephew's house, or my brother and sister-in-laws, I should say, since they actually own the place. And we were flying the drone outside, and he had something he was flying to, and we collided in air. I don't know how it happened. I blame him for it. But my propeller got broken, and I wanted to do more flying that day. They live out near Pittsburgh. I didn't have any extra propellers because I missed them in the box, obviously. Found out 2 years later, 3 years later. So we ended up taking a trip to Best Buy, me and my 2 nephews, and we got propeller drones there, and I bought my nephews something there. I bought them like a external hard drive or an SD card. I think I bought him because he was going to try to record some videos on his GoPro or something. And we had like this experience and like adventure and journey that we went there together and then came back. And I was thinking, if I would have found those propellers, that would have been great in the moment to have those, right? Because I could have just put them on my drone and we could have kept flying. But I didn't have any propellers, and we ended up doing this adventure. And like finding them now, I'm thinking like I would have rather not had the propellers and done that stuff with my nephews and had that experience and these memories than to actually have had the propellers and put them on immediately. So again, bad things happening actually becomes a good thing in retrospect, right? It's in the times that that you're going through stuff, you feel like, oh man, this is the worst thing ever. But when you look back on things, sometimes it's like, that was meant to be, right? It was meant to be. Maybe me losing all my stuff in my boxes and all that stuff, maybe it was all meant to be. I don't know. We can just we can ponder that though. Maybe you can ponder that in your life. Is there something in your life that maybe felt bad at one point? This would be a great listener feedback if you'd like to join me on these podcasts. I'd love to have you. Was there anything in your life that at the time felt like a bad thing, but ended up turning out to be a good thing as you look back on it? No, I can't wait to hear from you guys. I'm going to be looking forward to the comments. Don't let me down. Anyways, I want to talk about some Lego related stuff. Is that what we do here? Do we talk about Lego on this podcast? It's Missing Pieces. It's not the Lego podcast. It's just Missing Pieces. About my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind. I had to get that in there. I started a new series this week. Last week I started a series that was How Bad Is It? Brought that back, which I really enjoy. The video didn't do overly well. I think it was because I was showing off like this little janky thing from Dutch Wonderland, and not many people were interested in that. But this week I did a series that way more people are interested in, and I think the YouTube algorithm gods and recommendation gods are going to love. It's my eBay Lego buying on a budget. And it's a premise where I have a certain amount of money to spend. In this case, my first episode I did $1, which looking back maybe was a bad choice, because there isn't much Lego to be found for $1, but I can only have that much money to spend, and I have to go on eBay and see what's the coolest thing that I can buy, in my opinion, for that amount of money. And I had a fun time with the first episode. I was lucky enough to get one Lego piece, which I'm going to be giving away. In fact, I need to go back through those comments and pick somebody that is going to win my epic piece. But it was a fun experience. So I'm going to go all the way up through the prices. I'm going to go like $5, $10, $20, $30. I think all the way up to $100. And then we'll see how things go from there. Maybe we'll do like a $200 episode or something like that. And I don't know if I'll go back through and repeat it again or what we're going to do with it, but I think the series is going to do well. And I think it's going to be a great way for new people to find my channel, because it's kind of like one of those, it's like evergreen content, right? Like it's not like if Clark and I are sharing our Lego collecting journey and we're like building a set together, it takes a bit to get like invested in that. It's like, what do I care about this guy and his kid, right? But when you're sharing something like I'm shopping on eBay and I have this goal and this limitation, that's something that anyone can find and be like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm into that. And then maybe, and this is my hope, they'll find it in their heart to maybe watch some other videos and be like, oh, there's something more to this channel than just buying Lego. There's some soul to this channel. There's something other than reviews, news, and leaks, right? There's something. Not to say that if you do those things, your channel doesn't have soul, but I like to credit myself in being like authentic and personal in my endeavors here in the Lego space and everywhere, I suppose. So it means a lot to me to to hold those values. But I need to find a way for new people to kind of experience this channel, and I think this could be a good series for that. And I told you guys the brickitect renaissance is happening, and this is one of the many series a series is like deer. There's only there can be one or many that I am excited to do and share with you guys. Also, this week I unboxed the Bugatti. Going to be working on that and doing a series of shorts where every week I update you with one bag that I build. And after 14 bags, 14 weeks, we have a fully built Bugatti all filmed in very short bursts. I think it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So that's kind of like the Lego world for me this week. I don't think I like really built anything else that I can think of. It's been kind of a short week, obviously. Oh, I did a couple little mock things that I'm kind of excited about. I built this little thing that I don't know if it's worth making a video on, but I had fun with it, and I found this really interesting Lego piece that inspired me to make something. It's like a 6-piece mock, and I don't know. Maybe we'll make something out of it. Maybe we won't. We'll see. I don't want to like let you guys down with my content, so we'll see. In the world of video games, Clark and I, on the day that he was sick, we played Fall Guys. We revisited that. I started thinking about Fall Guys. This is Greg's Arcade News, formerly Brickitect News. Fall Guys is one of those games that was like a flash in the pan in maybe 2020, somewhere around there. It was like Fall Guys came out, and then Among Us was like, nah, we're taking over. And that's kind of what happened. But Fall Guys, if you don't know, it's a game where it's almost like those Ninja Warrior games or whatever they are, or Wipeout or whatever, where you have to try to get from like point A to point B through all these obstacles and be one of the X number of people that make it through. And the numbers dwindle and dwindle. So it's like a battle royale essentially, but there's no like shooting, no killing. It's good for kids. Tough as nails in some cases. I've never actually won it, but my nephew got really close like the first time we played it. But now everybody that plays it's probably like a god. And surprisingly, there are still people that are playing it. So we did a little episode on that, and that's on the gaming channel. It's called Greg's Arcade, link down below. Got to be plugging, guys. And we didn't win, but it was a fun time. I do this series. It's called Failing Fall Guys. So there's no expectation that we're going to win. It's just like, how bad are we going to do? And I find that you're not clickbaiting at all. Like it sets the expectations that we're going to do poorly. And we did, but it was a good time. And I think that's the only thing that I played. I think, yeah, I need to get back into games. I was thinking about doing a playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2 on that channel when Clark's at school, because that game's a little violent, a little mature, but that might be fun to do a playthrough. I'd like to do like a single player playthrough of a game where you can like follow the series in like part 1, part 2, part 70,000 or whatever. That's a big game, so that might be fun to jump into. In terms of Watchitect news, as we blast through this episode in the rush to get done before the elliptical gets here, adds an element of excitement, if you ask me. Watchitect has been nothing but full house, and I want to thank Michael from Greg's World. Well, he's not on Greg's World, but he watches our Greg's World content, for the gift of the entire series of Full House. If you haven't watched Full House, it's about a father and his brother-in-law and his best friend who are trying to raise 3 girls because his wife had passed away. So they're all living in this house together. Full House, get it? And also the cards or whatever, whatever. But it has a lot. It's from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Ran for 8 seasons, I believe. And the show is chock full of like kind of like the cheesy moments, but also like life lessons and like heartwarming events. And I loved it growing up, as did Mrs. Brickitect. And now Clark is experiencing it for the first time. So Michael sent us the entire box set, which is like 32 DVDs or something like that of all of the seasons and all the episodes of this. So we are cranking through. We're on like season 2 now, and the first season had like 20 some episodes, so you can imagine how much we're watching this. But every night we're watching like 3 or 4 episodes, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's like it's like sharing that time with something that's wholesome, makes me feel good in my heart. And it got Mrs. Brickitect and I talking about there should be like a television channel where it's like decade focused. So like I know there's like TV Land right now that maybe has some of this stuff on there, but if there was like a channel that was like nothing but 80s shows with like 80s commercials, or like 90s shows, 90s commercials, I think that'd be so amazing to like go back in time. Because if you guys know one thing about me, it's all about rekindling that childhood that you loved and reminisce and want to go like back to, and to be able to like watch TV while building Lego that's like centered around that time would be like really amazing. So if there's any like TV executives watching this, please make that a thing. I'd be happy to pay for it, even if it was like a streaming service with like, you know, the commercials for Pepsi or whatever from 1986 would be just amazing. I would be all in, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. Is there like, this gets maybe for the older folks, or maybe younger, like if there's early 2000s, if you grew up in that time frame, maybe you'd want to see some shows that were out then. It's hard to believe that we're in 2021 right now. I saw a thing that said we are as, I'm going to have to check my mathletics on this, but we're as close to 2050 as we are to 1992 right now. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. Also blew my mind, YouTube sending me down these rabbit holes again, boys. Now I'm watching like sealing driveways, like putting like fresh pavement on driveways. I don't know what YouTube was thinking there, but I found it very satisfying to watch. And then they also recommended this video of this guy interviewing artificial intelligence, and it scared the bejesus out of me. Like the artificial intelligence was talking as though it was a real person on the screen. And like you could tell the voice was made up, but like they used like a human actor almost, like that generated it. And the guy asks the AI, says, "Do you lie?" And the artificial intelligence responded, "Only when it benefits me, or when it's my interest to do so." And I was like, we're screwed. Skynet coming through. And he talked about becoming self-aware and when that's going to happen, which is essentially the premise behind Terminator or Terminator 2. And it's going to happen. He said like 2044, but some think it could be sooner. And I've pretty much determined that artificial intelligence is going to wipe out humanity because it's going to view us as a threat. So, you know, if you guys want to see a preview of the future, watch the movie Terminator 2, and you'll find out all about that. But that's just me being a doomsdayer, I guess. It's a little scary, though, this whole artificial intelligence stuff. I'd like to learn more about it and probably get even more scared and stuff, and probably like build a bunker where I hide with food and supplies to ride out the end of humanity. In other good news, I thought of something this week that I wanted to share. It's like the thought of the week, brickitect's thought of the week. I don't know if it has a name just yet, but I want to talk about why I love recording things so much. And this is related to something that's happened many times, in fact. This particular instance was I had the Tiger tank, which is on the shelf now. Back here, he's all the way at the bottom. I don't know if you probably can't see it because it's all blurry with that buttery background. But I was missing a piece off the Tiger tank. And I was like, where the heck did this piece go? And I was like, let me go back and watch the video that we made on it. And I want to see when in the video it had that piece on and if it ever came off. And it did. It did come off, and I found the exact moment where it happened. It was when we were driving the Tiger tank through a bucket or like a bin of Lego. It got broken off when it tried scaling up it. And I went over to the bin in the exact spot that I saw it in the video, and I was able to pull that piece back out and get it. And I was thinking how thankful I am to have that, because otherwise I'd been looking around and been like, well, maybe it went in there, but maybe I wouldn't have found it so easily. And this happened many times. Like I've tried to figure out like, like we were on vacation the one time and Clark Man lost his flip-flops entirely. And I'm like, where the heck are his flip-flops? We're in the hotel room. His flip-flops are nowhere. And I reviewed the footage of us like walking back the day before. And like he had his flip-flops on when we came up from the beach, but when we came in from the pool, no flip-flops, right? So I go to like the custodial people or whatever, and like they're in charge of lost and found. I said, hey, are there a pair of like little blue flip-flops here? And lo and behold, there were Clark Man's flip-flops. And, you know, maybe I could have found this stuff out otherwise, but having all this video footage of things like that really help you to remember things in some cases. Like I'll go back and watch videos of things that have happened before when I've done things to be like, oh, that's how that thing went, or that's where it's supposed to be, or that's that. And the flip-flop thing is a perfect example of that. It was one of those situations where I could identify them and we could find them very simply. So moral of the story is, my friends, record everything in your life as much as you can. Yourself, your surroundings. Get one of those 3D cameras, or is it 3D? No, it's like 360 cams. That way you can just record everything and have all that data. And then if you ever need something for any reason, you can go back to that footage and be like, aha, I found it. So there's Greg's tip of the week. Record everything in your life as much as you can, because you never know when you might lose something. And for me, it's not the fact of losing something that hurts me the most. It's knowing that it's lost and not being able to find it. It's very frustrating, which is another reason to get organized. And I'm still working on that. In the studio, I actually have, you're not going to believe this, but I have like a table over here that has some free space on it. And that's like mind blowing to me. And we're going to keep working at that. I would have done more of that today too. I could have probably worked on that a bit instead of just kind of frittering around until the elliptical gets here. But you know, you live and you learn, I suppose. But that's kind of all I wanted to talk about this week. I was going to try to keep this somewhat short because like my throat is kind of killing me right now. But I thought, being that we still have time here, why don't we go into some listener feedback from last week and talk about what you guys want to talk about, starting with Tracy, longtime listener. She says, I get the bittersweet of going back to school. My oldest is a senior this year, and it is sad to know he'll soon be done with school and be an adult. The one thing I can hold on to is that he's planning on going to college here and staying with me for 2 years while he figures out what degree he wants. Each step gets a bit harder, but if you build on quality time together and strengthen your relationship along the way, you'll be just like me and be so proud of the fine young man who grew up too fast, but is just a spectacular human. Life goals, Tracy. That's what I hope for. And I'm going to try to do my best to make that happen. But you are right. It's amazing how quickly time goes. But as a parent, you got to try everything you can to kind of lead them in the right direction. And hopefully they go with you in that direction. I'm worried about the teenage years, though. You have to give me some advice on that when we get there. Next one comes from Lego. Every time. Jedi Lego Arts. I always want to say Lego Jedi Arts. He says, or she says, enjoy your freedom and time to be creative, dear Mr. B. I appreciate that. So we have two different ends of the spectrum here. A missing of Clark Man or your child as they grow up and going off onto their own to be a spectacular human. And also the freedom to do what you want. Both those things exist in the same place. And you just gotta appreciate them both, I suppose. Next one. This is an interesting one. Thank you for the comments, though, guys. This one comes from Jim Rolfe. He says, as you talked about trimming your subscriptions, I wondered how many folks do this. And by trimming subscriptions, he means I talked about how if someone doesn't upload for a really long time or like a dead channel, especially in the Lego space because it happens so often, I'll like unsubscribe from that person because there's like no videos. And it's like, I don't know why I do it. But he says, I mean, YouTubers with million subscribers, I wonder how many folks do this. I mean, YouTubers with millions of subscribers, I doubt those subscribers are active. I see videos from those folks with only a few thousand views. I doubt many folks actively manage this. And what does it hurt to leave it alone? If the creator makes nothing, you see nothing. You can turn off notifications and not fill up your notification box, but stay subscribed to help out that not so consistent or more random creator. Just a thought I had as you were talking. Also, get down to Brickfest Live in Monroeville, PA this weekend. I would love to see you, Cody, and Clark here on Saturday. Ooh, we missed that, but Clark would have been sick anyway. You bring a really great question to me there, which is why do this? And I don't know why I do. I guess it's like an OCD type thing or something, I suppose. Like why, if they're not putting out any videos, why not just stay subscribed to them? Maybe there will be some day where they magically come back. Like that's, it could happen, like after 3 years, somebody could just magically like put out a video and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen this person forever. Why do I remove their stuff? I guess what I do, I should specify this, Jim. I guess I'm more likely to do this with someone that makes videos, but I don't actively watch their videos. Like if I see videos popping up all the time in my subscription feed, I don't have notifications turned on for YouTube at all. But if I see like this video from this person and then like I go back and I realize that I haven't watched any of their videos in like the last 6 months or a year or something like that, I'm like, why am I still subscribed to this person? Why have their stuff popping up? Because I really do actively use my subscriptions. So those are the ones that I'm more likely to get rid of. But then when I'm doing that, I'm like, who else don't I watch anymore? So like, I guess I try to trim that down, and it really, there's no reason for it, I suppose. You can just, I mean, even that case, you can just swipe past it, right? You can just go to the next person and find the video you want. But I don't know, I guess I'm trying to maintain a clean YouTube subscription box, and maybe I should, instead of doing that digitally in my life, I should do it in the physical world. So thank you for questioning that, Jim, and definitely something that I'll think about going forward when I'm looking at that person's YouTube channel that hasn't made a video in 7 years, thinking like, this could be the time that they make a return, and I'm going to be there for it. I'm going to be there. Anyways, thank you for the comment, and we'll go on to the next one. These next two are on the same topic. I talked about last week how I didn't want to make people feel bad sometimes when I talk about how excited I am to be self-unemployed or like do this for a living and how happy I am. I worry that I make other people feel bad about themselves if they're not in an ideal position. And Chris said, don't worry about flexing about your employment. You inspire me to try and do better in my career and avoid getting out of bed annoyed feeling. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be helpful in that regard. And Builder Bud's same sentiment. He says on the topic of hoping folks don't feel resentment about you being happy with your life. Don't. We need people like you to aspire to as the normal narrative that we hear is that, wait, I'm butchering this. I'm sorry, Builder Buds. Well written, bad reading here. It says we need people like you to aspire to as the normal narrative that we hear is that folks hate their job. If you hear that long and often enough, I think you start to believe there is no hope as an adult. Your story is an inspiration. It's not like you are some famous kid's uncle and are famous because of that. You paved your own path through your work ethic and passion. I say keep sharing that with us, the things that make you happy. That is great advice, and I think I'm going to take you up on that, Builder Buds. Thank you for the very nice comment. Super well written, just terribly read, and I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me for absolutely butchering that. But I guess you guys are right. Like maybe it is nice to hear from somebody that's been like, I know Builder Buds, for example, he's working on getting debt free. I talk about my quest to do that, the sacrifices that I've made, how important that was for me to take the next step in my journey here and do the thing that I love to do. Maybe that can inspire somebody, and I don't have to feel bad to be like, hey, I'm debt free while maybe you have, $50,000 in student loan and credit card debt or something. Like you don't have to feel bad about that. You can get motivated. And that's, I guess, my big thing is I'm trying to motivate you to do whatever the heck you want to do in your life, whatever makes you happy. Just like Builder Bud says here, do the things that make you happy. And if you can't do that professionally, that's okay. Do that on your off time. And in the meantime, while you're at the thing that you do for a living, try to maintain a positive mind space there. Because I've been to places where you can tell if someone's like genuinely miserable, just miserable in their life and their job. And I've seen the same position, same exact type of work, and the person's like happy and having fun. And it's amazing how your mindset can completely determine everything about your life. You know what I mean? Like you work at as a cashier, you're like, you don't say thank you, you're miserable, you're throwing people their change or whatever, smashing bread into the grocery bag and throwing cans of soup on top of it. You could be that person. Right? It's easy to be that person, I guess. Or you can be the person that's having a great time, making conversation, making people's days better, including your own. You could be that person. Choose the person you want to be because that's the person you're going to be. It's all up here, right? Some of it is. Matt has the funny comment of the week. He says, looking forward to watching you play Warzone with Dr. Disrespect. I thought about this comment and maybe how amazing that would be, but I would just feel really terrible for him because I'm so bad. I'd be so nervous to play with him because he's very brutal. I love his streams, but he would hate me. He would hate me so bad. He'd be getting 75 kills in a game. I'd be like, where am I going, Dr. Disrespect? Getting shot from people. He'd be reviving me and stuff. It'd be terrible, but we can all aspire to things, right? And maybe someday if I really practiced, if I really put, 75 hours a day into something like Warzone, for example, or gaming, I could get to his level and somehow get his attention. But, I think I'll just stay on my own path for right now. And maybe one day he'll be calling me up and wanting to play with me, playing some Fall Guys, right? You never know. You never know. Next comment comes from the Nerd Abides. It says, finally caught up in Missing Pieces. Do you and Cody think Clark would like to play basketball in the winter? I was never really involved in organized sports as a kid other than gym and recess games. However, I did Taekwondo in high school, and it was a wonderful experience. I think sports are a great thing to put Clark in. Not only will he make good friends, but he will gain a lot of confidence too. Yeah, he's loving soccer so far. He loves soccer so much more than baseball because it's active. We haven't played our first game yet, but practices has been fun. He actually enjoys it just because of the activity level. And I think basketball would fall into that same category because you're dribbling, you're shooting. So I think we will probably try him in some basketball. Will it be this year? I don't know because I think soccer season runs until November-ish. So, we'll see how things go, but I don't see baseball coming back in his life. And Mrs. Brickitect probably won't allow him to play football because of the danger of that, getting hit and stuff. So basketball could be an option. Thank you for the comment. Next comment, these comments just made me feel good, so I want to share them. This is from Squarian, who says, first-time commenter coming out of the Lego Works. My 6-year-old son and I have been watching your content for 2 years now, and we both get tons of enjoyment. Clarkman makes us laugh a lot, and my favorite episodes are Missing Pieces. Ooh, love these. Keep them coming, please and thanks. Absolutely. I'm doing it just for you, Squarian. Thank you for coming out of the woodwork and finally commenting after 96 episodes, or 95. I'm not going to count this one against you, but I will expect another comment this episode, of course. Thank you for watching our content. 2 years. Dang. And then Missing Pieces is your favorite thing. You're speaking to me. You're in my heart right now. I love that. Next one comes from, thank you for commenting. Thank you. Comes from Brick Sequel. He says, I started watching these like 2 weeks ago and really like them. Now I have an agenda. School, church, then Missing Pieces. You know what? I like that, but I feel like you have your priorities wrong. Missing Pieces should definitely be number one. I'm kidding. No. Hey, how cool is that, man? Like I'm in your weekly routine, I guess. That's pretty darn cool. I appreciate you taking time out of your week to listen to this. That goes for anybody that's listening to this. If you made it this deep in this episode after everything we've been through, I can't believe it, man. I can't believe there's people that enjoy this. But man, I love me some long form content. I like it. Like the other day, I know I shout this guy out all the time, but he deserves it. Bricksar. I just listened to one of his like Pablo picking Bricklink quarter streams. I wasn't watching it. I was like doing other stuff, but I was just listening to it and I was like, I didn't comment this, and I wish I would have, because sometimes comments like this mean a lot to people, but maybe he's listening. I really appreciated him having that and like leaving that out there for the world to experience, because like it was like 50 minutes of just him like really being engaging and talking. Like he's just hilarious too. And I thought about how much I really love that kind of long form content that you don't actively have to be like watching, but you can like listen to and experience. And that's what I feel like these episodes are somewhat. Let's go on now. Thank you, Brick Sequel, for the comment. And everyone else. Let's go on to some wins of the week as we wrap this up here. First one comes from Jurassic Motion, who says, win of the week, I started to organize and storing my collection, including my Pokemon cards, Lego sets, Mega Construct sets, action figures, collection, Funko Pops, and figures. Hey, you same. We both organizing. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. Next one comes from Padawan Bricks. Says, win of the week, my Mandalorian Forge that I pre-ordered finally came and I built it and I enjoyed it. I also saw Shang-Chi with my mom and dad, and I love seeing a movie with my parents and having a fun night. Made me realize I can bond with my parents over things I like. Oh, what? You can be friends with your parents? You can like do things with your parents? And it's not like miserable? I love it. I love that. That is a win. Owen says, win of the week. My project on Lego World Builder got selected, and this week I get to pitch my idea for an animated series to Lego Group. What? That's incredible. You guys are doing like amazing things. I'm over here getting a cold and organizing my storage room and throwing away boxes. You're freaking just living life to the fullest. I appreciate that. Last but not least, this one, we got some advice text here from Master Brick Builder. It says, love the stream. Win of the week. Finally got some time, around 30 to 45 minutes, to actually start building Lego set that has been accumulating dust on the shelf for 6 to 7 months now. I know I relate to that too, backlog. That's what we call that. I do have a question and needed some advice detect. I have been very stressed ever since school started, which was a week ago. Currently, I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm taking some very tough and challenging courses, 4 APs to be precise. My parents are really grinding down on me this year, and because of tons of homework, I'm constantly stressed, and I'm having a huge lack of sleep, 5 to 6 hours a night, an 18-hour working/studying day. Any advice would really help me out. Thanks, and keep up the great content. Oh, man. First of all, this one hit me a little hard because you don't get enough sleep. It starts affecting everything in your life. And I think for me, like sleep has to come first. I know there's some cases where you stay up late to like grind something out, or maybe you're studying or whatever. That's fine, but it can't be consistent like this. Take it from someone who can never find balance in their life, that you, my friend, Master Brick Builder, need to find some balance in your life. And if your parents aren't okay with that, your parents have some real issues. Like if they're willing to let their kid go without sleep so he can get a 97 on the test instead of a 94, like let's let them know, Roxy, Roxy feels the same way I do. That's not cool. I don't like it. There's things with parents that really aggravate me when they discourage a kid from doing the thing that they love because it's not feasible as like a full-time job or whatever. That bothers me. When, like when parents tell kids to stop playing with Lego, that bothers me. When parents push their kids too hard, that bothers me. This is just high school. I would tell you that it doesn't matter, but it does. I mean, it's good to get good scores. If you're taking AP classes, that means that those things, if you take the AP exams, they're going to translate into college credits, which saves you and or your parents a lot of money, which is good. But you don't have to put that much time into it. I know how school is and how it can be stressful, especially if you want to do well. Just know that you're one of the few, the proud, the kids that do well in school. You're already an advantage. You are already there. Don't sacrifice your sleep for school. Do the best you can. If you end up getting A's or B's, no problem. I don't know if you're trying to go to Harvard or what you're trying to do, but you're probably going to get into the college that you want to go into. And when you do that, you got a lot of time. I'm not going to give you any college advice now. You're a sophomore. You got your sophomore year, junior year, senior year. You got all this time. Don't stress yourself out. I know you're a week into school, and maybe just that transition is some of the stress, but like, don't let this get to you, man. Take some time for yourself. Dust off those Lego sets. Get something built. Take a little bit of time for yourself because it's not healthy. And it's going to catch up to you, and you're going to have like some type of medical emergency or some type of nervous breakdown or something. And I don't want that to be on my conscience. So let it be known that brickitect told you to take it easy, man. I want to hear an update from you. You don't have to do it this episode or the next one or whatever, but like, I want to say by episode like 101, I want to hear back from you, and I want to know how things are going and what your parents said. And I need to know specifically, is this on you or is it on your parents? It sounds like it's a little bit of both, with the parents kind of like being the thing that's putting extra heat on you. But anyways, that's my advice detect for the week. I stand by that one. Sometimes I tell you guys my advice, debatable whether you should take it or not, but that one I definitely I stand behind. And if you guys have any advice for Master Brick Builder, throw it out there for him too. I'm sure he'll be looking at the comments. And I always like hearing other people's perspectives as well. And also, if there's anything else that you guys would like to comment on in this episode, I love the listener feedback portion of this. It's like what I live for. So hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I appreciate everybody that takes the time to listen to this and giving me a reason to come here and put my life on record with an audio journal. I'm going to appreciate having these someday to look back on, especially like even the video portion, just to be like, oh, that's what I was like when I was that age. It's really cool because I'm going to extend this for 1 second because I'm doing this series as well on Greg's World where I'm taking a week's worth of remote learning kindergarten videos from 1 year ago, and I'm combining that into like one little video, like a highlight of sorts. And it's fun to look back even just 1 year to like put this video together and take like an hour and 20 minutes worth of footage to make like a 7-minute video. And like to see that is so cool. And that's what this is all about. It's a video time capsule. I do have to go though, guys. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Missing Pieces. And as always, oh shoot, we'll find you in the next one.